Hello, time for our reveal. Now excuse the chaos behind me. And I'm really delighted to be able to show you our sew-along bags for our next sew-along. And there are two bags, one big one, one small one, Romulus and Remus. The bags have been designed to be sewn in fabric primarily, although they can be sewn in faux leather. And they are a set. This said, the two that I'm going to show you are not a set, they're not the same. I have the other half of both sets half done because I'm actually using the other half of both sets to create the videos for you. So you'll forgive me that these don't actually match. So let's start with the smaller bag. And this is a crossbody bag. It's a very simple looking style. It has the opposing straps. This one is done all in faux leather, and you can see that it's got this is all faux leather. It's also got a faux leather piping, which is part of the pattern. The bit that's really unusual about this is this fabulous long zipper gusset. And that goes right the way across the top. Inside you have a divided slip pocket and I'm not sure if you can even see that, but you've got a zipper pocket and a divided slip pocket and a perfectly fitted lining. And because of the way the strap is attached on opposing sides, this is actually a very short strap because this is actually for my sister who's very tiny. She's only 4'7", so I'm going to put it on, but it's going to sit just underneath my bosom, which is not ideal. You can see that the strap connectors sit really well so that it sits nice and flat against your hip. So this is the smaller of the two bags. So she has this unusual zipper gusset, and these are snapped on, so you can actually undo them if you wanted to, if you really need very good access to your bag. But there we have the smaller of the two bags. I think she's beautiful. She's a great size. She's, let me just measure, approximately 8 inches wide by just over 8 inches tall, although obviously you've got some space that's not usable because it's the recessed zipper placket at the top, by about 2 inches deep. She's not massive, but actually you can get a lot in there. And I just think she's nice because she's really simple. She's really kind of understated. And this is the smaller of the two bags. Now, Romulus and Remus were twins, and thus we have a bigger bag, non-identical twins. So this is the sort of bag that you would wear over your arm. And again, it has that same interesting zipper placket, which attaches on the sides. Inside of this, you have much the same arrangement. You have a divided slip pocket and a zipper pocket, which is difficult to see because my fabric inside is really layering. It's the same as the stuff on the outside. You also have these super duper accent straps. So this one is done all in fabric, other than the back part of the straps and the zipper placket, which is done in faux leather. The only part of this bag that has to be done in faux leather is this part, is this zipper placket. It needs to be a non-fraying fabric. You have the option to use the piping, and I'll show you how to do faux leather piping, or to leave it off, and it's very much your call. They make a great pair. It's difficult to actually see it simply because they are such different fabrics, but one is substantially larger than the other. I've got this at a really weird angle actually. Let me measure this larger one for you. She's 10 inches across. You think I'd know this by heart, but she's actually about heading up towards 10.5 inches tall, but again, you've only got the certain amount of usable space because of the zipper placket being recessed. And approximately 3.75 inches wide. Now, what I like about this is that she easily fits an iPad inside, and I can put my iPad inside sideways on or height-wise on, and there's plenty of room for all the other bits and pieces you might want to take out with you. I wouldn't say this is big enough to be an overnight bag, but it's definitely good enough for a sort of an office bag of some sort if you wanted to use it for that. And as a pair, they look absolutely fabulous because they're similar. They're identical they're twins, but not identical. So this is the bigger of the two. So we have Romulus and Remus. Make them as a matching pair, or make them as two separate entities, as these are. Will be a matching pair to this one and a matching pair to this one. So sew along. How does it work? Initially, this video will be shown. It'll be on YouTube, but it'll be shown in my waiting room. And those of you in the waiting room will have first stabs at joining the sew along. There will be a post in the waiting room that gives you all of the details of how to make your payment. And this is a paid event, I'm afraid, because you get the pattern included as part of your payment. So you're actually only paying for the pattern. You're not paying for the sew along. You're not paying for the videos. You're not paying for the competition that works inside of the sew along. We have a set amount of time where you can put a picture of your bags that you've completed into a folder, and you will receive prizes. There are prizes to be won. Not everybody will get a prize, sadly. I wish I could. So the cost of this event will be £8.50, and we will start our event probably in about 3 or 4 weeks. I haven't actually fixed a date, and I will obviously let you know what that date is. Again, we only take 200 people with us, so if you want to get in quickly, because if you leave it and it's full, there will be no additional places available. You'll have both patterns, both the large and the small. You'll have a full video sew along to take you through every step of the way. I don't do long videos, don't do these great big long videos where you have to kind of find the bit that you want. I do short videos that cover each stage. I don't miss anything out. I don't, if I make a mistake, or if I have something like my thread snaps, or I've got skipped stitches, or any of those things, I'll show you how I fix it. I don't edit my videos particularly. I tend to shoot them with my phone on a stand, just kind of looking down at my sewing machine, and I'll chat you through what we're doing. I try not and waffle. I try not and swear. Usually I'm successful. But I hope that they'll be user-friendly for you. So how will this work? I'll pop up a post in the waiting room with all the details of exactly how you go about making your payment. If you're not au fait, if you're overseas and not au fait with making payments in UK sterling, please don't worry. You can always ask me for an invoice, and I'll happily send you an invoice. Payments should be made via PayPal using goods and services. I don't ask for friends and family. Goods and services is absolutely what we should be using. And once we get to the start date, I'll add a list of all the ingredients in that group so that you can go shopping if you need to. There's things that you want. There are options within this pattern, so things like the piping you can leave out. So if you're a fairly new bag maker, I would advise that perhaps that's something you might want to leave out on the first attempt. But if you're a new bag maker that's just ballsy, then go for it. I'll show you every step of making your piping, fitting your piping, and how all the rest of that. You can join the sew along and not sew if you don't want to. Keep it for later. The videos will be available for you for as long as you want them. The sew along group won't close. It will just stay there, and you can dip in and dip out as you want to. If you're overseas, obviously I'm in the UK and I post the videos during the day. My day, I usually start at about 10 o'clock, and there's usually a sort of an obvious stopping place, so we'll get a certain amount done, and it seems to be a point where you actually get that seems an obvious place to stop. So we generally show the videos over 2, 3, 4 days. It depends. Sometimes it's quicker, sometimes it takes a little bit longer. There's an organic way. It feels quite organic, and so there's a point where you think that's enough for today. Everybody's had enough. If you want to sew along with me, I like to leave enough time in between the videos for you to catch up with me, so you can watch the video perhaps once, perhaps twice, scan through the written document and all the diagrams in the document, and actually get in your head exactly what you're doing before you start sewing. So I leave enough time between the videos so that you can kind of sew along with me, so that when the next video comes, you're at that stage. If you're overseas, don't worry, you can catch up later. It's not a problem. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. So that's basically how the sew along works. You make your payment. I will send you, within about 24 hours of you making your payment, I will send you a link to the group that we've set up, and there's a group set up specifically for this. Please don't invite your friends to the group, because your friends will not be allowed entry unless they've actually paid. There will be a post in the waiting room that once you've paid, you will need to actually comment on that paid, or I'm in, or whatever, and I will then send, as soon as I see that, I will then send you the link to the group via Messenger. If anybody's got any problems with that, please just message me and let me know. There's always a way around it. I know some people struggle to do payments in other currencies. So if you're in the USA or in Canada or anywhere else in the world, some people don't. PayPal's not always intuitive how to actually change the currency on your payment, but you need to make your payment in pounds sterling, because I am in the UK. There will be some extra content in the sew along that won't be available outside of the sew along. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, because I'm actually not 100% sure what it's going to be, but there will be either a decorative technique or some additional feature on one or both of the bags that isn't in the pattern, that will be exclusive to the sew along. We always have something exclusive. Sometimes it's a weave design or an applique design that's just not part of the pattern. In this instance, we've got no decoration, which is really unusual for me. I usually decorate everything. So yeah, it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. My videos are half done, so I'm going to kind of play with the ideas that I've got for additional content, and hopefully by the time we actually get to the sew along, I'll know what it is, and I'll have shown you what it is. So you just kind of have to trust me a little bit with that. However, the £8.50 will cover the cost of the patterns, and there are 2 patterns here. 2 patterns, so there's one for the larger bag and one for the smaller bag. I'll give you as much additional information as I can. Hints and tips about sewing with faux leather, hints and tips about making your own piping. You can use pre-made piping if that's what you prefer. Loads and loads of information. Once all the videos are shown, then we set up a folder within the group that is where you put your finished pictures, and then after, we usually leave it about 2 or 3 weeks, so it gives everybody a chance to kind of catch up and make the bags. They'll be judged and there will be prizes. Usually we have 5 or 6 prizes, so it's pretty cool. It's good fun. You don't have to be the best sewer, you don't have to be vastly experienced to win a prize, because it's not just based on your bags. My judges are looking at lots of different things. I only have one that actually sews, so it's not about your sewing skill. Sometimes it's about your fabric choices, sometimes it's about creativity. So if you've perhaps added something extra that wasn't in the pattern that you've just added, they'll pick up on all of that. And we've had some great prizes and some great winners in previous sew-alongs. So that's basically how the sew-along works. And you have Romulus and Remus, 2 stylish and quite simple for me bags. When I say simple, they're not necessarily as simple as they might look to construct, but they're not overly decorated, which is unusual for me. So this is that zipper tapping on there. It's like Morse code. So we have the larger one. We have a full gusset on there, and this wonderful faux leather piping, which I'll show you how to do. And then we have the smaller one, and you can see there that's with the opposed strap, so that it sits really nicely on your hip. And we have this fabulous zipper gusset that completely encloses your bag, so it's really nice and secure. Nothing's going to fall out of there. But she's a really simple, stylish looking bag. And so this is all in faux leather, and again the gusset goes all the way around. I've done the black gusset in this one, and she's fab. She is quite simple compared to what I normally do. I haven't got any fancy decorative techniques for this because I really wanted something that was quite classy. Again, this one's got the piping on, but you can leave the piping off. It's very much up to you. I hope you like her as much as I do. I think they're great. So we have Romulus and Remus. So I will have loaded this video into, I would have added the link for the video into the Sew Along waiting room. It will stay in the Sew Along waiting room for 24 hours before I post it on in my main group and in the other group. So if you want to get in on this and you're in the Sew Along waiting room, then do it sooner rather than later. And I will, once I've reached 200 people, we'll just close the group so that nobody else can join. And all of that additional content will only be available to those 200 people that have joined the Sew Along. This is a bit like going on retreat, but without leaving your house. You can sew in your pajamas, and it's a bit like having your friend sitting in your sewing room, kind of chatting in your ear. I know a lot of ladies previously have watch the videos at night, which I think is quite funny. They go to bed and they have their iPad and they're watching the videos, and there have been various husbands that have said, I quite like going to sleep listening to that lady talking. I know I had one lady who said that whenever she had her granddaughter with her, she would give her the iPad with the videos, and apparently my voice is soothing. Even though small grandchildren probably wouldn't have the first idea what I was talking about. It would be lovely to have you all join us. I know I have a bunch of regular ladies who come every time, and I so appreciate them coming. But we have a lot of new members in the waiting room and in my main group. So it would be really nice to see some new faces in the Sew Along. Everybody is welcome. I don't care whether you're male or female. Everybody can come. If you want to sew a bag, then you can come. I'll try, and if you've got any questions or any problems, then you can load them in the group, and I'll do the very best I can do to answer. While we're actually showing the videos, I'm generally about, and bear in mind I am in the UK, so this is UK time, I'm generally from about 10 o'clock in the morning to about 10 o'clock at night, and I will answer questions, and I'll answer them as quickly as I can. Bear in mind that, like a lot of us, I have a husband working from home, I have family commitments, grandchildren, children myself, so there are times when I'm cooking or having to do laundry or all the other stuff that we mums have to do or grandmas have to do. So if I don't answer straight away, please don't worry, I will answer as quickly as I possibly can. The only real, it's not a rule particularly, but it's something that I always say is, please don't be PMing me. I know sometimes if you're sewing away and something comes, you're not quite sure, you suddenly think, oh, I'll just ask her and send me a PM. If it's during the daytime, then I will answer, but often because we have a lot of ladies that are overseas, what's your daytime is my middle of the night, and I need to sleep. There's an element of, I'm getting old, I need to sleep. So, I mean, post your questions in the group, unless it's something that you really don't want everybody to see. But I will answer you as quickly as I possibly can. My test team have done an amazing job with these again. And there are some fabulous samples, and I'm going to get them to post some of those before we actually start the Sew Along in the Sew Along group, so you can have some inspiration for how you might do yours. Now, I've always seen these as a set, so 2 bags made in the same kind of fabrics. and some of the samples are exactly that. So there was a big one and a small one in exactly the same fabrics. Some of them have been really creative and created twins, non-identical twins, using the same colorways, and just really clever, really clever. There are some amazing samples, so you will be blown away by them. And although they're all the same pattern, they look so different. Once again, they've just done me proud every time they do. Every time I think what they're going to make of this one, and every time I'm so pleased when I get to the end of the testing process to see how they've taken what I've created and what's in my head and made it their own. So I hope you'll join us, and I hope you like Romulus and Remus. They're a really cool set of bags. And that zipper placket at the top is completely unique as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen anything else like it. So it's a new technique for you to learn. There'll be other things that you will learn. That we have a perfectly fitted lining in both of the bags. There's no saggy linings. It's not a drop-in lining, it's a burst bag. So yeah, there's lots of other things that you can pick up, and tips and hints and things like that you can take and move on to other bags that you're making with other designers, or indeed my own. So this is the reveal for Romulus and Remus. I will add the details in the sew along group once this has been released to you, because actually I'm filming this the day before, so that you know how to join, and I hope you'll join me. Thank you very much.